Flame on! How's everybody doing, everybody? I'm here with my special guest, Nick Lenz. How you doing, buddy?
I'm doing good.
And welcome to DC's New Year solicitations. A little early, but we might as well get a head start on it, get it out the way.
Yeah, I wonder basically what they come out with. Did you read the first issue of Absolute Batman?
I had, and I am very intrigued by it.
It was
Now,
interesting. I did not expect to see it was almost like it was similar to I would say like an old '80s movie ish, with like Batman fighting against a bunch of people.
yeah, definitely not Zack Snyder, excuse me, Scott Snyder's take on the Dark Knight trilogy. I definitely got those vibes from this comic.
Mhm. Yep. I don't think Absolute Superman's Wonder Woman's released yet. I can think of. I don't know
Uh,
because I didn't read last week's comics yet for Marvel DC.
And Najee, yes, I do owe you a collab. I will DM you privately, and we'll set that up.
Mhm.
But I know it's been a while since the last time you were on the channel, Nick. And please, I highly recommend recommending to his channel. Great friend, great co-host and colleague. Highly recommend. Excuse me. Highly recommend subscribing to this gentleman right here. Anything you want to promote right quick before we get started?
Um, I had a couple videos edited and some more anime I'm trying to catch up with, but not as crazy as last week where I had to go through, I had to basically try to catch almost 10 anime because I was out of power for about a few days. Bleeding Cool. The website where half the time it's not exactly correct. I did read the All In One Shot. What do you think of the All In One Shot?
I mean, I kind of expected it. If you're really going to do this whole DC's ultimate dark side is the way to go about it. But I just feel like this should have been a part of the main story of Absolute Power rather than a one shot.
Yeah.
Because say what you will about Amanda Waller and the call, and she's not an event villain. I'm sorry, Cadmus. She peaked at Cadmus, and that was an adaptation of another storyline, I believe, which originally came out in the 70s. I could be wrong on that, Nick.
Waller debut in the 80s.
80. No, the story she's famous for.
It was Legends.
Thank you. And
Well,
that was
she was not technically the person responsible for that. She debut it. It's mostly put like I think Way took inspiration from that story. Turning the public against the superheroes, and though the way that it was different than what Darkseid did, what Waller did was with fake news and taking away their powers. And thank God we got rid of Failsafe. I'm glad he's gone, but we still got the Sovereign. I hope
yeah.
someone kills him. Like, okay, if you don't want to have the Trinity kill him, like, let's see who can kill him. Oh, I know. How about the Vigilante?
I mean, I get what Tom King's going for. Now it's very blatant and plain to see. I can get where he's coming for, but you are no Alan Moore. Tom King, if you just so happen to be watching this, you are no Alan Moore. You are never going to be Alan Moore, and nor you have anywhere near the same level of talent. But that's a separate conversation for a different
And
stream.
yes, he's one of the many comicers I have met. I actually saw him just this year. We didn't talk very much about Wonder Woman. We talked about other stuff. I didn't criticize him for Wonder Woman at all. It's just we talked about other stuff. I think because Wonder Woman had just started when I met back in last saw him in February. Because I don't think it been going on very long. But
No, it just started a couple months ago, and again, no shade, no calling crap on the art on the writer. The art is fantastic. The story's just lackluster, but the art is fantastic.
Also, and there's been a myth out there for a while where any character he writes gives him PTSD. That's completely untrue. Like, if you think about it, has any characters really get PTSD from something? Not really.
Only
Like,
Heroes in Crisis,
yeah.
which
In
was
the
a heavy
case, yeah, in the
focus
case
on.
of like Strange Ventures, like it depends. Oh, he made I'm a war criminal. He told me that, and of course, this is from him. It's a cover story for him betraying Earth. That's all it was. He is not a legit war criminal. That was all made up for the story. And there was also a famous rumor about Grayson I asked him about. I think I might have told you this, where when the first issue of Grayson came out, I had it briefly recalled because the CIA didn't like what he put in the book. And I asked about that, and he says that was a complete myth. That never happened.
Hmm.
So, you want to know about something related to these comics? Ask the creators who go to Comic-Con. That's the best people can ask. Yes, Justice League Unlimited, which of course this is, I believe, the second volume for the series, but the first Prime Universe one. Because I think there was an adaptation for the TV show.
Yes, there was a tie-in comic for JLU in the early to mid 2000s. I think it only got 2 volumes, but I could be wrong on that.
Yeah. And someone pointed out this is taking heavy inspiration, not just a TV show, also from Hickman's Avengers.
Yeah, where everyone's a part, where the entire superhero community is part of the Justice League. That kind of structure can work, but you would have to find a really good balance.
Yeah, I think right now having the same superheroes part of Justice League is kind of too much. Because people like the core 7 plus some additional characters, but to have like 50 superheroes on the roster is ridiculous.
At least, and nostalgia aside, it worked with the DCAU because of the setup leading up to that, the fact that it was a response from Cadmus, and the fact that it was an anthology series with, certain Easter eggs or more lower tier characters teaming up with one of the core 7 or their own adventures. It was very serialized and anthology based. Depending on now, granted, issue 1 has not released yet, so we don't know how this series is going to be structured.
I
But
do
that is
find it interesting that they're back in the Watchtower again.
Yeah, that is, now you mention it.
Because I remember it was destroying Priest wrote a Justice League, and then they randomly show up in Checkmate where it's fixed. It was never explained how the heck it came back. Where it's abandoned, kind of like Titans Tower is abandoned. The one from Ben Percy's Teen Titans book, that's completely abandoned. Yeah, we're looking at the cover for Justice League number 3. No surprise that the creative team is going to stay for a while. Okay, I'm happy for the cover price. Are you happy with the cover price?
$3.99 takes me back to Rebirth.
Yes. Let's hope it sticks that price. Do not raise it because comics are charging way too much. Oh, I found out recently this. You might find this interesting. Guess which company has the most expensive comics right now?
Marvel.
IDW.
Really?
Yes. I heard that some comics cost charging $7, $8.
Like, are we talking like decent titles like Transformers, TMNT?
They don't have Transformers anymore.
Transformers right. They lost the license, didn't they?
The only license they have left are just they have Turtles, they got Star Trek, Godzilla, which you will forget the fact they have Godzilla. They have Sonic, and apparently they still have My Little Pony. Somehow, I would have thought Hasbro took the license with them because that's a Hasbro property. But nope, they still publish it.
Not going to open that can of worms, but I'll leave that be said.
I do like who the choices for the variant covers they have here. You have Simon the Moon, Nathan Stardy, Rick Tyler Kirkham, good choice. Derek Kirkham, and Gillian March. Ray's UV foil. Must be some kind of
this cover right here, Nick. The one I'm hot. Yeah. This one.
I think it might be a promotion for something to Rise UV. Not sure what it is. It might be a special event due for variant covers for January.
Could be.
The global terrorist group Inferno has taken the next step toward world dominance with a logical disaster. Both Superman, Wonder Woman, and the others have to sacrifice of Swamp Thing, plus Plastic Man and Beast Boy work with the Atom Project to get their powers. Interesting. I did hear about the fact that Plastic Man, his powers are messed up now. Beast Boy is interesting. I thought they fixed it at the Beast World.
Actually, this is separate from that. After, I don't know if you read Absolute Power yet.
I have not read the. That's what I have read. I did not read the. I heard there's an Absolute Universe one shot. Did you hear? I know that one came out. I haven't read it yet. Absolute Universe number 1.
Yes, I have.
Yeah. Oh. There is a reason why these are here. Jay, did you hear about this announcement related to Batman?
I might have heard something familiar, but please continue.
Okay. It has been announced that Zdarsky is going to be leading the title with issue 156, and he's going to be replaced by the creative team Hush, Jim Floeb and Jim Lee. But they actually are delaying it a bit because of Jim Lee taking his sweet time doing artwork. They want him 6 issues come out before the thing comes out, and that's why I heard they're actually delaying some of the issues because of that. It's not Jardesky, and he's pointing out basically it's not his fault.
No.
Apparently, he's not happy removing the title. He's not happy about that.
And I did have a video planned. It got pushed to the back burner due to circumstance of whether or not Chip Zdarsky's run had fallen off. To an extent, it has, but I'm not going to blame Zdarsky directly for it. Zdarsky just got dealt a bad hand by editorial.
Yeah,
if I'm being completely honest.
And I do like the current story where it has nothing to do with failsafe.
Sorry, I had to adjust my camera for a second.
Which basically deals with, Riddler has a company that deals with cryptocurrency, and Bruce Wayne has got his millions back. And Lucius Fox is dying. And Vandal Savage is the police chief. Or police commissioner. We have variant covers for Batman Long Halloween. This is for the last time. It looked like Noir Edition, which that looks like an old Tim Steele cover there.
It is. I believe, sure, this is just a reprint of the comic, just without the colors. So it's going to be black and white the entire time.
Mm-hmm. Now that next one, that's basically affects of the original first issue for a long haul, which I do own that book, which I think I did have Jeff Loeb sign that for me. It was that and a trade for Hulk. Here it is. The fine. Oh no, that was issue. It was actually next issue. But yeah, this is okay. All in. Dying City builds this penultimate issue. So it looks like up to 157. Looks like it's the last one. Written by Chip Zdarsky, artwork by Tony Estino. Jorge Menez does the cover artwork, which no denying that cover art is really good. Interesting, basically, Burning Wayne Enterprise. That's a really cool visual.
Indeed. The GCP.
Go ahead.
The GCPD is closing in on their suspected killer and on Batman. Wayne Enterprises is under attack as Nigma's plans come into focus. The owls are not what they seem. Don't miss the thrilling penultimate issue of The Dying City.
And it's $5.
Of course it is.
Absolute Batman number 3.
4.
Oh, that's interesting. New interior artist.
Okay, art by Gabriel Walta, cover by Nick Dragata.
I think he did the cover interior for the first 3 issues. I think this one he's taking issue off, or he officially left the title for interior. I'm not really sure. Okay, Scott Tech teams up with Gabriel Walta for the secret origin of Absolute Batman. And it's $4.99, of course it is. But 24 pages for $5? That's ridiculous.
Yeah.
I know he ran up, but sometimes comic costs way too much. Absolute Batman is established up as an extremely large force to reckon with. How did he get to this point? How did he get pushed himself? How did he get past tragic events of childhood? And the advice of his father shaped the man who become literally. Guest stars Gabriel Walta joins for the essential origin issue of Absolute Batman to explore Bruce Wayne's past and his inevitable future to get bigger to miss his pivotal issue. Interesting doing origin story 4 issues in. I would have thought they would have about a year before they do this.
Yeah, I mean, I am awfully surprised how fast this is moving along. Now,
and DC, please drop your cover price on these books. They not need to be $5.
Now, again, it's a business. You're trying to make a profit, but the highest you should go for comics is like $4, maybe $5 if you know it's going to be a guaranteed hit. And yes, it's Batman. It's a variant of Batman. But come on, $5 is pushing it for one issue of a comic
for 24 pages. Yeah, that should be $3.99, not $4.99.
Now they have started dropping these are 25 pages, so I guess they stopped doing backup stories for certain titles.
Yes, I think the other ones they have, which I think was Batman, Detective, Action, Harley Quinn had backups. Though I think since this continued, I think that was it. Absolute Superman number 3.
Written by Jason Aaron, art and cover by Rafa Doval, variants by Declan Shavely. Apologies if I butchered that. Christian Ward, Mike Perkins, and Mike Perkins. Years ago on Krypton, Jor-El and Lara became utterly convinced that their planet was heading towards cataclysm. But what could two lowly peons of the Labor Guild possibly do to save their entire species? The answer is decidedly not what you think.
Still $4.99, but interesting. It's on sale New Year's Day. I don't mind this in New Year's Day, but the price still. This book does not need to be $4.99. $3.99 be fine, but nope, because DC gets a little greedy. I think Marvel might be a little worse when it comes to greediness. Apps Wonder, written by Kelly Thompson, art by Hayden Sherman. Does the cover artwork. Variant cover by Elizabeth Torque and Meta Juice. Variant covers by Christian Ward and Meta Deleuze. The tri-set is the 4 killer, and Diana has done the unthinkable to escape the steel grasp. The moon may help save her fight for her day. The price is Diana's pay more she can stand for. The fight's coming. She will need the help of her allies, both old and new, to recover what she lost and save Gateway City. I haven't read the first issue of Apps Wonder. I don't know if it's come out yet, but I hope they eventually explain where the heck she got that travel tattoo. Right? Superman number 22. Written by Josh Williams, art and cover by Dan Moria, variant covers by Marco Son, John Boy Myers, David Tolsky, David Love, and Margaret Savage. We can rant all we want about the $4.99 thing, but it's still ridiculous. A secret alien strike team has arrived with sights set on the greatest web universe, Doomsday. And the only person who can save the ultimate destroyer is Superman. While alien forces rain down Metropolis. Superman trains with trains new powers, unlikely instructor. A won't believe who it is. Huh. Looks like it's fighting Parademons in the cover. Ooh, Superman, Lex Luthor Special Number 1. Written by Josh Williams, art by Eddie Barrows, Ever Forever. He will also do the variant cover with a variant cover by Markov. During the Battle of House of Brainiac, Luthor's memories were wiped clean, but now, after the events of DC's All-In Special, the world needs Lex to remember his past, and the key piece of information to lost memories is that it can unlock a big mystery that plagues Superman and Justice League. But what if just Superman is so what if Lex is one member? Would Superman sacrifice Lex's newfound peace to solve world secret? It means the return of Superman's fierce rival.
And this one is $3.99. So you're willing to sell a one shot for $3.99, but you're going to push for $5 for ongoing. Isn't that ironic?
Yeah, you would think a one shot like this would be $5, but no, it's $4.
I'm just as surprised as you are, my friend. Bear with me. I'm not used to using Bleeding Cool, so there's going to be a lot of back and forth, ladies and gentlemen.
Yeah. Oh, good. This looks like the final issue of the story. The battle between Titan and the Sovereign reaches bloody finale. It's about freaking time.
To my knowledge, I originally thought Sovereign was going to last for 20 issues, but I'm not surprised it's being pushed back to 17.
I think because of the reception that the storyline's gotten.
Fair enough. Nick, you want to read this one? Okay. Oh, hold on. Let me pull it. Scroll down first.
Wonder Woman with the Wonder Girls. That is a cool cover. Written by Tom King. Artwork covered by Daniel Sapar. Variant covers by David Nakima, Mike Del Mundo, Simone Demo, and Sweater variant cover by Frank Cho. Interesting. Okay, this I can justify this one be $5 because this is 40 pages. That's fine.
Yeah, that's fair. That's fair.
But 24.32, no, it does not need to be $4.99. And I can't see the thing here. Oop. I don't think I read the synopsis of this one. The last one, back up. I can chance to read
Oh,
the synopsis for the Wonder Woman one. Though I do like that all-in cover for. I do like cover for New Gods.
all right.
Diana, Donna, Deandra Four, and Cassie.
Yep.
The Battle of Wonder begins. After revealing the Sovereign and his plans for the entire nation, Wonder seeks her sends in her girls, wage war against his army. Will these sidekicks have what it takes to go toe to toe with their mentor's most fearsome foes? Okay, Donna Troy is not technically a psychic anymore. She's an adult now.
Yeah.
I get maybe Cassie that, but Yanja Ford just became Wonder Girl like not the long. She became Wonder Girl like 2 years ago, 2 or 3 years ago. She became Wonder Girl.
Yep.
The greatest power has awakened, and the universe will never be the same. Love this cover here with Highfather and Orion. Written by Van B, artwork by Evan Kogue, Nemeth Nevia, front covers by Christian Ward, Evan Cooley, and Walt Simonson.
I believe that is this cover right here.
Yes, I think he did this New Gods back in the 80s.
I believe so too.
Yeah, and look at that, $3.99 for 32 pages. You're learning, DC. Would you like to do this one, Jay?
All right. Mr. Miracle has found himself at a crossroads, presented with a terrible choice by his brother Orion. He must decide between venturing out to save a child he has never met, a new god made manifest, or stay home to raise a child of his own. Meanwhile, an evil awakens, driven mad by an obsession with a dead god, and sets its sights on the same child. Several forces of good and evil converge on this child as its latent powers begin to reveal themselves to the world. And while these dramas play out on Earth, the forces of an intergalactic inquisition march ever closer.
I wonder what child it means from Mr. Miracle. I know he has a son with Big Barda.
And I guess we're getting an Adam project between
Looks like Ray, Roy, and
Nathan.
Nathaniel.
Yeah, Captain Adam.
Yes. Who many people forget this. The guy is a creation of the late Steve Ditko, but he didn't create this version of the character. That was Carrie Bates and Greg Weisman.
Yep.
So you could think Steve Ditko, Carrie Bates, and Greg Weisman for Nathaniel Adam. Okay, it's written by John Ridley and Ryan Parrott. Okay, I like Ryan Parrott's writing, but John Ridley, why, John? Why is he on this book? Mike Perkins, good choice. Dan Moore and Kevin Wald, Luca Patera and Simmons. I have no problem with artists, but why is he here? Because a lot of the books he writes don't sell.
They
Ryan
really
Parrott, Ryan Parrott, I don't have a problem with him being here because he did Go-Go Power Rangers.
I mean, yeah, Ryan Parrott. Okay, I just want to make sure I got the right person. Ryan Parrott's a pretty good writer for the most part. Like you said, Go-Go Power Rangers is a perfect example. He's a pretty good writer for the most part. I feel like John Ridley would just hold him back, all things considered.
If I was the editor of this book, I would not have John Ridley do this book at all. Have him do someone who's not a big name character. Like, I don't know. How about do more of the Jace Batman stuff and have people try to buy that nonsense?
Now, okay, I will play advocate here. A lot of this was 5G setup anyway. But in a vacuum or in an Elseworld story, you could have Jace be the Terry McGinnis of the present day. In an Elseworld or in a vacuum, it's not that bad. But
the guy did nothing.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not saying a character deserves to be shelved because the powers that be don't know what to do with them. I would never say that. but yeah, you're kind of out of options.
And here's the weird thing: the guy never met Batman.
I mean, in the future state stuff he did, material he did, but not in main continuity. No.
Nope. And here's the weird thing: I think like maybe like two people knew he was. I don't think even his brother knew he was next Batman. And his brother's Batwing.
In the wake of absolute power, the superpowers of the planet Earth are in chaos, and it's up to the newly reformed Justice League to restore order to that chaos. Enter Ray Palmer and Ryan Choi, together as the heroes called the Atom. These brilliant minds get to work crafting the world's first superpower reallocation and backup system, codenamed the Atom Project. But not everyone wants their powers back, and Captain Atom is hell bent on preventing his missing atomic abilities from ever being found. Join Oscar winning writer John Ridley, Rogue Sun co creator Ryan Parrott, and Batman First Night artist Mike Perkins down the rabbit hole of an intense atomic fueled spy thriller that will drop change in the DCU like an atomic bomb.
The other reason why people say that he's a award-winning writer because he did. I think he did 12 Years as a Slave. I think he did. I think he just did that one. That one and maybe Django Unchained, right?
I believe so, but I could be wrong on that.
Look, it's The Challenge Unknown, written by Christopher Shantwell. Okay, that's good. That's a good choice. The guy I love his work for Iron Man. Sean Inoski, who does right, and Travis Moore. Like, I like the fact they brought back The Challenge Unknown. They're a great group. They're not as well known as some other DC characters, but some people might see them as like, oh, it's DC's Fantastic Four ripoffs. Even though they debuted a few years before Fantastic Four. It's similar with Doom Patrol, where debuting the same time as X-Men, yet people see him as DC's X-Men ripoff, except not as successful as X-Men.
Or classic example, Deathstroke versus Deadpool. Even though Deathstroke debuted a good 10 years before Deadpool did, Deathstroke roughly in the beginning of Marv Wolfman's and George Perez run, and I want to say 84 or a little bit before
81, I think it was
81. Thank you. Judas Contract was in 84. Okay.
Now, Liefeld has mentioned that Deadpool is named after Wade Wilson. He's named after Slade Wilson, but he's not based on him. He's based on Snake Eyes from G.I. Joe. So he's not a ripoff of Deathstroke. That has been he has disproven that rumor because he created him.
I do not see
also the challengers were here's the thing about the challenger, you think, oh, it's like Fantastic Four where it's like three guys and a girl. No. The real challengers were four guys who were explorers. The girl came later. I think she dated one of the members. It wasn't leader. I don't remember who the leader was. It's the thing is, if you get a chance to read the original Challenge Known book, the Jack Kirby is the best one because the rest of the series, it's a snooze fest. It is boring after Jack Kirby leaves. I think him leaving hurts the book, writing wise, but I like the artwork.
And quick tangent, Tevia, since you were so kind to ask us, how do you guys feel about Eddie Brock has Carnage now?
Yeah, it is dumb because they're making a new Venom symbiote host, which I'm like, why? Why are we doing this again for? We did this several times in the last decade. Why we do this crap again, switching hosts? Why? Because Cletus Cassidy's dead.
Okay, if you want to rebrand or restructure a character because Cletus Cassidy has been killed off in story, that's. But why Eddie? Out of anyone, why Eddie?
He killed Cletus
directly.
He stabbed with a freaking pipe at the end of Absolute Carnage. Which you'd be like, why would Eddie even want the Carnage symbiote for? He practically murdered its host. And plus, the way that symbiote works is bizarre, where it works on blood. So I would want a symbiote that's disgusting, more gross than the Venom symbiote is.
At least with Venom and at least with Eddie and Venom's bond, you can make the argument that both were scorned or dissed by Peter, and Venom's pretty
Carnage
much
is
an
just
out.
insane.
Huh?
Carnage is insane like Cletus is.
Yeah, yeah. To where that's a. I wouldn't even call that a perfect host. It's like two extensions of the same person. Like Carnage is just an extension of Cletus himself.
Yeah. So, the odyssey of the Challengers continues on the Watchtower and beyond, bracing under the new strict oversight of Mr. Terrific in the investigation into the God shock and the reeling from something unknown, reeling them internationally in June's torn to be shaken to the core with a strange rapture in the W's part of ocean draws the league's scrutiny and now awakens difficult creation of her challenger past. That's Batman, Aquaman, and Sea Devils. Okay, June is the female member of the group.
Yeah,
That's who that is. Sea Devils, they are kind of the same level as challengers. They're not as well known as other characters are, and they're kind of associated with Aquaman.
and I will say this though: what happened to Outsiders book with Luke Fox, Batwoman?
I think it finally ended after like 12 issues because I think Colin Kelly told me it was going to be 12 issues.
Thank you for confirming that for me, Nick. The
Yes,
question
it was.
all along.
It was
Go
okay.
ahead.
It was an okay book.
The question all along the Watchtower, issue number 3.
She's teamed up with Batwoman. Her. I think it's. I don't know if these two are dating. It's at one point they were dating and then it's not mentioned again because
I do.
a girl and then that she's not mentioning it either. Like, what is up with DC's writing of Renee Montoya?
I do remember in certain storylines or books where Kate and Montoya were paired together, but it was more of a fling type thing. But Kate tried to propose to Maggie Sawyer, but then that whole thing happened.
Yeah, which Dan DiDio took a lot of flack for that. Which I forgot to ask about that when it comes to that particular. When I saw him at Tap Comic, I did not ask him about that. Oh, somebody is a fan of V Vendetta.
What's up, Brown Destroyer? How you doing? Oh, wait. Oh, that's right. Jared was rewatching S-Taz. Oh man, I hope y'all had a good time watching that. And so I'm not gonna. As the mystery.
Last one I went to go see was My Hero Academia. You're Next.
I meant to ask you: have you actually caught up to the ending of the manga yet, Nick? Or are you just?
I read the whole thing.
Okay.
And the end of the season's about to wrap up. The dub next to final episode is releasing this weekend.
I'm not going to say I'm disappointed by the ending, but I never really had high expectations for that.
I felt it needed to be extended. Like, it was a normal length chapter. It should have been longer.
And the biggest controversy is that Deku pretty much semi-retires and becomes a teacher. First of all, instructors, teachers, professors are a lot more culturally prominent in Japan than they are in the West. So let's go ahead and get the culture shock out the window. Mm-hmm. Second of all, it's kind of insinuated that despite losing all for one for all, he will get a mech suit and become the de facto Iron Man later on. I don't know if this was sequel baiting specifically or kind of a juxtaposition to like, okay, yeah, Deku's kind of taking a back seat, but hey, he might
never confirmed that he and Oshaka became a couple. The only couple we got confirmation was LaBrava and the Criminal. Which really these two got married.
Which again,
you might think, LaBrava's a little girl. Not really. She's a short person. I think she was her 20s when the series started, and now she's like about mid 20s, and the Criminal's 40. So it may be 15-year age difference, but she's not a minor. Despite how she looks, she's not a minor.
They are consenting adults, and that is as far as we're going to go in that route because we'll end up on late night and we'll be here all night.
Yes. So, the question all along the Watchtower. Is it something of the question is Chief of Security for Watchtower? Like, I think for Renee it makes sense. She's a former police officer. Of course, she would basically make sense to be Chief of Security of Watchtower.
Nothing wrong with that. But if you had to pick between the original question, which was carried over from, I forget the exact comic line, but it was consolidated into DC at some point in the 60s.
Charlton.
Charlton, thank you. If I had to compare the two versions of the question, yes, Renee has potential since taking on the moniker, but you can make an argument she didn't need to. She could just stay as an supporting character with the GCPD, and her contribution does not change. I'm not belittling, I'm not downplaying Renee Montoya. I'm just saying it's an added touch. That's all I'm
And
saying.
sorry, the reason why she is like this now is because her job as the commissioner taken away from her by Bando Savage, the man who, in pre-Flashpoint, put a basically branded her face pre-Flashpoint.
Oh yeah, I forgot about that.
Yeah, which made no freaking sense. Like, you take a woman who's got a beautiful face, you brand her because she's Jewish. I mean, he had no problem with her being a lesbian. Apparently, he had a problem with her being Jewish. Because Renee Montoya is one of the handful of DC characters who is Jewish. I can't think of anybody else aside from her who is Jewish. Can you? From DC?
Wait, isn't Batman or Bruce Wayne, or at least stemming from ethnically Jewish?
They never clarify what religion he is.
Because I have seen in some versions where his family was considered ethnically Jewish at the very least.
Yes, I think that Dick is loosely Catholic from how Chuck Dixon describes him. Either him or Tim.
But let's go ahead and read the solicit. As the mystery hovering the watchtower deepens, the question, reeling from two brutal battles, must overcome her own self-doubt to get to the core of a mystery that threatens not only her, but the entire Justice League. But can Renee, so far from home, and the support system she built in Gotham rely on the team she's built around her to stave off disaster? And what does this mystery have to do with the Atom Project?
Yes. And despite the fact he's super elucidated, Renee Montoya can't keep it together without, trying to sleep with her while basically on mission. She can basically emotion in check. Despite basically having a past relationship with Kate, she can keep emotion in check. And why the heck is John really running Action Comics? Seriously? Oh, and he's basically featuring Major Disaster. I'm like, okay, Major Disaster, no problem with this character. He's a C-list character. But John really running Superman. Why?
Written by John Ridley, art by Inaki Miranda, cover by Gleb Melnikov, probably the saving grace of this comic. Variants by Ken Lashley, Kenneth Rocafort, apology if I butchered that, and Tom Grummett. Superman Superstar, $4.99. Superman Superstars continues with an unfortunate tale about Superman's greatest gift to the world, hope. Major Disaster returns to Metropolis in his old ways, much to his dismay of the Man of Steel. Can't his alter ego, Clark Kent, discover the reason behind this villain's decline back into the world of crime?
At least when Gillis Molly, she's a popular writer, at least she has good stuff. John really is running stuff that's very mixed.
Yeah, he either hits or he really, really misses.
And it seems like half the time DC remembers this initiative or they forget it. Because it's been a business of Gail Simone stuff ended, and now it's John Ridley's turn. Like, okay, you want to put a superstar writer in here? Fine. Gail Simone, fine choice. I have no problem with waiting on the book. But if you want to pick somebody who is a superstar writer who can do Superman, I don't know. How about bring back Jurgens to a story arc? I know he did the backup, but how about the A story?
Dan Jurgens. Now, I am going to play devil's advocate for Jared on this one. Name one solid storyline, at least adjacent to the Superman family, that doesn't have any reference or association with Death and Reign.
His most recent stuff he did. I mean, he had a limited Dark Doomsday at the beginning, but he did his own separate thing for Rebirth. Dan Jurgens. He had excellent for that book.
That's fair. That's fair, and I will acknowledge that Def and Rain are the highlights of Dan Jurgens' career. I'm not saying he's a hack and he revolves back to that every single time. I'm more so alluding to he knows his roots, he knows what helped build both his and the character's success, so he does throw a few Easter eggs to it every now and again.
Two other writers I could suggest: Peter Tomasi,
I'll give you that.
and a man who loves his character. And it's a shame he's never wrote this title. Mark Miller.
Mark Miller has never written a Superman title.
Well, the main book. He's written other books, but never written action. Apparently, he's a big Superman fan. I'm like, why can't you reach out to him? He'd be a lot more interesting to write a writer than John Ridley. They call him a superstar writer, but he's not really. Heck, I wouldn't mind if Scott Snyder did a story arc for this book. He's a superstar writer. Or Jeff Johns. Let's see. Who else is a good one? Let's see. Ooh, Louise Simonson. She has some other stuff besides that. The Superman's really good. Hey, bring your husband to do the artwork.
I mean, that's not a bad team right there.
Yeah. You come think of it. What was the last book she worked on? Aside from the I think the last book she was like 30th anniversary of Steel. Aside from I can't think of it she's working lately.
Now that you mention it, I think Steel was the last time. The 30th anniversary for Steel was the last title she worked on, at least to my knowledge. If I missed one, please let me know in the comments.
I'm trying to think who else would be good. I don't think James Robinson, because even though he had really interesting stuff with doing the Krypton, I don't think he would work for the initiative. Plus, he hasn't anything in several years. Rucka might be interesting.
Brown Destroyer says, I have little apprehension about the Superman story with symbolisms. It's all catchphrase like hope. Just write a good Superman story, and it can be any genre. Otherwise, it limits the story.
I hope it's a one-shot story, and John really moves on from the book.
Yeah, I hope this is just a one-off. But to your point, Brown, to an extent, you have that. I will concede that it can be overbearing to where you completely lose any sense of the character because you're so caught up in the theme and the symbolism, you lose sight of what Superman's actually supposed to be. And you don't really let the story speak for itself. That is a very heavy consensus and why people devalue Superman and think he's boring. I will easily admit that.
Another good choice. And as far as I can tell, he still writes. He hasn't anything in a while. John Byrne.
John Byrne on Superman.
Last time working on the book was back in the 90s.
You do realize he had some controversial takes in his last Superman run. You do realize that.
Well, he can basically take inspiration from his retro run. Like have it where he, like, you know how Marvel has these mini series filling gaps. Maybe we can have Action Comics be a filling gap for his run.
The only way I would trust Byrne with Superman or Action again is if an editorial team buckles down and actually reins him in.
Last book I know he worked on was Star Trek. That Star Trek book from IDW. The one it was a photo comic.
Again, I kind of fell off Star Trek after the new movie, after the J.J. Abrams movies. I'm just going to be completely honest on that.
I'm trying to think who else would be good. Let's see. Snyder would do, but he's busy with episodes. Batman. Melitzer might be an interesting choice. He did do that story for Action 1000. That was all about speeding bullets. It might be interesting to do a Superman story again.
But all right, Detective Comics 1093, written by Tom Taylor, art and cover by Michael Janine. Hopefully, if I pronounce that right. Variants by Dan Panesian and Juan Ferreira.
I don't think the first issue of this run has come out yet.
No, it has not.
Because Ran V Run just wrapped up. I think it was just not that long ago.
And I'm sorry, I'm gonna be honest. I kind of fell off Detective Comics because it was. I felt like I was reading a playwright, and it went on for way too long.
Plus, they had a weird ending where Gotham City is on fire. That's how you end the book, with the whole city on fire.
John Byrne's Man of Steel miniseries was good in my opinion, but otherwise, I don't like John Byrne's Superman.
Well, his run did bring in a version of Metallo that we still can't see nowadays. Like his version of Metallo was based on Terminator.
Batman's run-in with the horrific Asimia has left him questioning everything. Who is Asima? How does she know Bruce Wayne? And for what foul purpose is she draining the blood of young men across the city? To find the answers to these burning questions, little on the nose, the world's greatest detective must plunge into the darkest corners of his city and psyche. The very foundation of the Dark Knight is beginning to crack. Can he solve this mystery before it crumbles completely?
If anybody's going to suggest Chuck Dixon, he would be a good choice. But the man is busy with creating projects, and him and DC are not getting along right now.
Oh no, they had a massive falling out. I mean, this was
it
years
was on
ago.
their part, not Chuck's part, because they basically, and get this, he has mentioned this in interviews, that anything collects work overseas, he is not going to pay for that in 10 years. Background number 3, written by Tate Brombo, artwork by Takashi Miyazawa. I think that name must be Japanese because
Takeshi Miyazawa. Hopefully, I pronounce it.
Yeah, I'm thinking that's probably Japanese because that does not sound Spanish or French. I think it's Japanese.
Cover by
based on how it's spelled, it must be a Japanese name.
Cover by David Talaski and variant by Marcio Takara.
And it's $3.99. Now, the next comics book that was 40 pages. That's fine being $5. That's fine. 40 pages is fine for $5. This is fine for $3.99.
I'm just glad Cassandra Cain's actually getting some focus again. I mean,
yeah, and the first issue is, I don't think it's come out yet. The first issue is not officially come out. I'm not seeing it come out yet. So if it has, I have not read it yet.
The train ride out of Gotham proves more difficult than expected for Cass and Lady Shiva as dangerous new players enter the field, with her unburied still hot on their trail and seeking blood. Can Batgirl actually trust her mother, or will it lead to her certain death?
I think I may actually. I read the first one because Shiva did show up. Oh, Catwoman 72. Like that cover.
Nice.
Now, I did hear Taran Garbuck speak. Now, I thought she was Norwegian, and then I heard an interview she did. She sounds Irish. Yes, she is a woman. Now, some might think basically that does she put in stuff people don't like in comics, like SJW stuff. Not really. She doesn't do that. If you read around Venom, yeah, maybe confusing, but it's not like SJW. It's not woke. It's not left. So she is not a terrible writer. She's not a big name writer per se, but I don't think she's a terrible writer.
Tom DeFascio, I have seen some of their work, but I wouldn't trust him with Superman.
I think it's DeFalco.
Oh, Tom DeVacco. Okay, thank you.
Yes.
I just wouldn't trust him with Superman, if I'm being completely honest. Not from what I've seen.
Have you read any books by Taran Garbuck?
Taran Garbuck? I might have read one or two.
She actually is. She's pretty good, but she's not amazing.
Do you guys think that Absolute Universe is canon according to All In #1?
The Absolute Universe is set on different versions of Earth. They're in the same multiverse, yes, but they're not in the same planet. That was confirmed in the All In one shot.
Whether they get a crossover remains to be seen. But Garbuck, art by Mariana Ignazi, cover by Seba Fuimara, variants by Frank Cho, Edgy Curie, W. Scott Forbes, and Nathan Sidurti.
The sweater weather variant. I don't know what the heck that is. Let's see.
I believe it's this one.
That is not like a sweater. Maybe it's something else. As Celia danced with the devils and the damned at Dante's Divine Comedy themed party, a tale of pain and woe unfolds in Stockholm. Their Catwoman will find the first surprises. Does battle against the people off your head? By the end, Catwoman will find herself in a little inferno in her own making. This seems like a finale for the opening story arc of this run.
I believe so, because I don't think Torin's run has kicked off yet at the time of the stream.
I don't think it has.
Or if it
Oh
has, it's been very recently.
yes, Harley Quinn number 47, and this is after Tina Howard left the book.
Thank God. But
Well, I own the first J for it. It is confusing. Her run. It's not. It has good artwork. I love the artwork for the book, but the story is confusing. Like her getting involved with Two Face. Like supposedly she had nothing to do with a hostage crisis. She's arrested for unrelated stuff, completely unrelated. And then, and her punishment is be a teacher at community college. How is that a punishment for community service? Be a teacher at community college.
I mean, community service can be an inconvenience, but I wouldn't really call it a punishment for essentially everything she's been associated with, Joker, Sirens, or otherwise. I would
When
just
you
call
mentioned
that
the book basically whole profile with Joker, she basically poked fun of like, what year is it? Because she's not following Joker in years. She pointed out in the book, in the first issue.
No, I meant their canon as primer because in All In they hinted at a crossover one of the. Okay, I see where you're coming from, bro.
Yeah, they're in the same multiverse, but they're not in the same Earth.
Okay. Oh wait, Harley Quinn issue 47, written by Elliot Kalin, art by Mindy Lee, cover by Elizabeth Torque, variants by David Nakayama, Jorge Fornes, Knight Zhang, and Simone DeMeo. Clayface is having a dinner. You know what, Nick? You tackle this one. Your accent's better than mine.
Clayface is having a dinner party, and everybody's invited. As long as her name is Clayface. We got the Clayfaces here. Basil, Matt, Sandra, Preston, Cassius, Spanky, Altheta, Skymite, even Cloudface. What the heck? My latest cloud, my latest instruction agency brings me face to face with Clayface as I crash and burn the ultimate muck fill my unit harder as Aunt Ethel's overcooked basket Lester's passive for Saturn. Oh yeah, someone's gonna die in this one. Okay, Basil, Carlo, Matt Hagen, Sandra, that's Lady Clayface, Preston, Cassius, that's actually the son of Sandra Preston. The other three are just made up for this freaking book. Like Spanky, Skymate, Cloudface, what the heck? And don't these people hate each other? Especially as Basil's trying to murder the other Clayfaces?
Yeah.
Yeah. And how the heck are these people still around? Because I thought New 52 wiped these people out.
This might just be a filler issue, man.
Though Sandra herself, she did come back, but everyone's not come back. I'm not seeing come back yet. But really, Cassius Clay? Yeah, those of you curious about this Cassius Clay character, the fifth Clayface, he is indeed named after Muhammad Ali. They mentioned in his debut story he's named after Muhammad Ali. Now, the first 5 names listed there are legit Clayfaces. The other ones are made up for the book. Speaking of Ivy 29, you're probably going to say, how is this book still going?
Okay, how is this book still going?
I think because the book is actually pretty good. I like the book.
Yeah, this book surprisingly took off. I mean, you really don't really expect much from a Poison Ivy comic, but I was surprised.
Her book has lasted longer than Penguin.
Written by G. Willow Wilson, art by Marcio Takara, cover by Jessica Fong, variants by Jenny Frinson, Pablo Villalobos, Douglas P. Lobo, Douglas P. Lobo, and Mahmoud Azar and Alejandro Sanchez. $3.99. Poison Ivy ventures into the wilds of Washington to uncover the true identity of the Order of the Green Knights' mysterious leader. But when Pamela hears what they have to say, will she decide to stop fighting and embrace their mission? Or will she burn the operation down once and for all?
Does that look like the Wicker Man to you with that giant tree thing?
I thought I was the only one.
Yeah, that reminded me of the Wicker Man from the one they appeared in the old horror movie that was later made in the Nicolas Cage movie. Ah, Nightwing 2022, which this one has started. I read the first couple issues of this one. It is interesting where like the whole city is a power vacuum and they threw the D off a bridge in the opening issue of this thing.
Nightwing 122, Dan Waters. Art and cover, art and interiors by Dexter Soy. Variants by Dan Pazosian and Babs Tarr. 1:25 variant cover by Gleb Melnikoff, one of the best writers in DC right now. I mean, best artist, excuse me, Gleb Melnikoff. And sweater weather variant by Yasmin Paturi.
Babs Tarr, last book I know this person worked on was Batgirl.
Nightwing.
It was running after Gail Simone left.
$4.99. Oh,
I think because it's a Bat book, they have to charge this price.
Yeah. Nightwing faces the memory of a dark encounter from his days fighting alongside Batman as Robin. An encounter which might hold the secret of Spheric Solutions' mysterious CEO and her machinations for the city of Bloodhaven.
I think this is like one of like 6 books that's $4.99. Because I think Justice Limited is $4.99. Batman, Detective, Action, Superman, and Nightwing. So that's basically 6 titles.
Now, I can understand Roy, Arsenal, Red Arrow, however you want to call him, being a stand-in for Wally due to the Justice League and all that. That I can, but why are we facing Killer Frost? She's not even a Titans villain.
She's a Firestorm villain. Except that this version is not, it's not Louise Lincoln. That was when we had pre-Flashpoint. This is Caitlin Snow, the one who was later adapted for Flash.
Titans number 19, written by John Layman, art by Serge Acuna, Pete Woods, Carl Kirchhoff, and David Baldwin. Or is it Baldwin or Baldion?
Baldion.
Thank you. Revenge is a dish best served cold. Killers have ice in their veins, and villains are cold-hearted. See where we're going with this? This month's winter forecast predicts freezing overnight lows, ice storms, snow flurries, and a high chance of dead titans. I'm not reading that last part.
Yeah, and looks like the first lineup they have looks like Donna, Nightwing, Roy. I think that's Raven. Let's see, Cyborg. Who is that?
Starfire in the back corner and Garfield panicking as a penguin.
Yeah. Now, those of you curious, has this Killer Frost ever met Firestorm? She has. Once. In the Fury of Firestorm ongoing series that Gail Simone started, that was later taken over by Dan Jurgens. Technically, in a way, she is a creation of Sterling Gates. And that was the only time that she ever fought Firestorm. She's a Firestorm and she only fought him once. I do not know why DC does not have her fight Firestorm more, but I'm not DC Comics. Now, I did read the opening story of this one by this artist, Leonard Romero. What did you think of this person's artwork for the interior for the first 5 or 6 issues?
Now, the I forget what it's called, but where they go to a first of all, the Return of Sin. I was generally surprised by that. This book had a very strong start, but by volume 2, it kind of petered out.
Yeah, I love the fact that this artist has this retro art style reminds you of the 80s.
And that's
that's an 80s style variant. That's 80s style artwork right there, which I like that.
Hold on.
Oh, it looks like you have a guy in a team now.
Why did in the Arkham games Tim Drake had a bald cut, crew cut hairstyles?
I have no idea. That was Rocksteady did that.
That was an aesthetic choice.
And for some strange reason, they have hooked up with Barbara Gordon, which made no freaking sense at all.
I understand you want to ride off nostalgia because the DCAU had wrapped up by 2006. But was Bat Says really the best thing to copy? Really?
Yeah, and why Tim? Tim is much younger than Barbara.
Okay. In the DCA, this is a genuine consensus. Just about everybody knows this now, but I'll go ahead and state it anyway. In the DCAU, that version of Tim Drake was a Jason and Tim hybrid. Jason and Grayson, and I'm saying Grayson, due to bots, are roughly 2 years apart in most versions, anywhere between 2 to 3 years apart. And Barbara is what for Grayson's age. But then you have one simple fact that Arkham Knight pretty much retroactively added Jason. So now Tim can't be a Jason Tim hybrid anymore. Tim is just left being Tim. So,
and he does nothing in the game.
That at most, Tim is 19 by Arkham Knight. 19, maybe right at 20 years old at most.
Barbara, I think, is supposed to be at that point mid to late 20s.
And what's worse, there actually are tie-in comics for the Arkham games. So technically, Barbara and Tim getting together is just her rebounding from when her and Grayson broke up.
Which I didn't remember any point in the Arkham universe as those two ever dated.
There was no reference. That is strictly in the tie-in comics. None of the earlier games reference this at all.
Or the fact that Bane is dead by Arkham Knight. He got killed by Jason Todd. So the lineup they have now is Cassie, Black Canary, Big Barda. Is that Ivy there?
Not Poison Ivy. That's Sin. She ended up getting elemental powers in the first story arc.
And who was the guy?
The guy, I think he debuts in an earlier issue prior to this one, but I know this one right here, that's Thunder, Black Lightning's daughter, his oldest daughter's girlfriend.
Yeah, and when I look at this guy, does it remind you of an X-Men character with knives?
He
Warbird.
does.
Like Warpath from X-Force.
Right?
Except he's less beefy than he is. It's like they copied Dick Grayson's look and basically gave the personality. It's like they gave the body of him from Dick Grayson, but gave him the idea from Warpath.
Basically an amalgam of the two. I see where you're going with this.
Because, well, the knives. That's where basically I get the Warpath from. Which, fun fact, Warpath got his knives from Storm.
Nobody on this team is willing to lose Cassandra Cain. But if it comes down to her or the Amazons they came to rescue, how will they choose? And who will do the choosing? The Birds of Prey honors their obligations, but at what cost?
I wonder where Zealot is.
Yeah, she's a Vertigo character. I think she left the roster after the second.
I think she was Wildstorm. Which, speaking of Vertigo, did you hear is coming back?
Oh, that's right. She was Wildstorm. My mistake, folks.
Yeah, but Vertigo is coming back. I found this out from, I think it was James Tynan. His house, nice house on the lake, being put in Vertigo. No longer Black Label.
Now, Azrael was supposed to be in Suicide Squad Kill the Justice League?
I did not know because I never played the game.
I'm surprised.
I heard the game is like, out of the entire Arkham universe of games, it is worse than Batman VR.
And that's saying something.
I've never played this game at all. I've only played the first two. I played Arkham Origins. I've never played Arkham Knight. But
if you've read Batman Under the Red Hood or the original comic or the classically acclaimed 2010 version, you've played Arkham Knight. It's the same story.
So we have, looks like a cancer patient with looks like a TV image projected on him, a Black Canary fighting Shiva.
I think so. Black Canary, Best of the Best, issue number 3. I want to say this is an ongoing. It doesn't look like a miniseries.
Yeah, and plus $4.99. Now I get Batman or Superman or Nightwing, but why is Canary? Why is she $4.99? That makes no. Why? Because King's behind the book.
Yeah, and King's on Batman, so.
Well, he's on Wonder Woman now. He's not Batman anymore. He hasn't been Batman in a few years.
Wait. Oh, I'm confusing him with Tom Taylor. My mistake.
Yeah.
All right.
But I'm like, okay, so Canary is kind of a big character. People do know who she is, but her child does not need to be $4.99.
And I've heard this misconception where, because Canary is a bad, and this is just terms of her character in general. She's a bad adjacent character, isn't she? No, I mean she's teamed up and worked with Batman adjacent characters in the past, but she's not a part of the Bat family or an extended member. She's
It
just
her only association with Bat family is being a member of the Birds of Prey. That's it.
the Birds of Prey, Justice League, and the occasional team up when the League of Assassins are involved. That's it. And even
And
then,
she also member of the JSA as well.
well, legacy member of the JSA. Her mom was one of the, but still.
And also, she's a Green Arrow supporting character because she's Green Arrow's girlfriend / wife.
All I'm gonna say is there's a reason people still think Green Arrow is a Batman ripoff.
Even though he's more of a Robin Hood ripoff.
I'm sorry, man, but Arrow did not do the character favors. I'm sorry.
Is it just me, or is this like one of 2 books that feature Lady Shiva as a character in it? Yeah, I mean the Batgirl title.
I have noticed that, but let's get to the solicit. Written by Tom King, art and interior by Ryan Sook, variants by Sawi and I'm not even gonna try to pronounce that.
Chuma Hill.
Thank you. Victory seemed assured for the vicious Lady Shiva. Can anything turn the tide of this match? Plus, the Dark Knight detective drops in on Canary's training to sway her from the fight.
That's probably the reason why it's 49 Batman's a guest star in the book. You know, there's one thing that Lady Shiva and Cassidy Kane have in common.
What's that?
They're both beautiful women.
Hmm.
And that is 100% complete. Just look at it. They're both beautiful. The one was creation of Lady Danny O'Neill. The other being creation of Kelly Pudick. Kelly created Cassidy Kane, and of course, he also created Connor. Danny O'Neill created Lady Shiva. Black Lightning #3. Now, I know you're not a fan of this writer, Brandon Thomas.
Oof. I am not a fan of him.
I'm not really sure why he was chosen to do Black Lightning. It's a complete mystery. Like, okay, so, like, you chose him over, like, okay, I get maybe Black Lightning is a big tier character for DC, but could you not have picked Brandon Thomas to write this book? Like, I get maybe you don't want to do the original creator anymore. It would have been interesting to have Trevor Freeman, a guy who also co-created Black Lightning, have him basically do writing artwork. He's done it before. He did Black Canary in the 90s.
Arkham VR works as a psycho horror, especially if you're trying to set up the Joker. Spoilers. I'm not going to spoil the larger game for you, Nick. But tying right where Arkham City left off, there is a certain subplot concerning the defeat of the Joker. I'm not going to go into too much detail because Nick hasn't played the last 2 games, so I'm not going to spoil it for him. But it does carry over that plot point, and it does work in that context as a thriller. But other than that, it's pretty baseless, and it's just Batman, for lack of a better term, tripping for roughly 2 hours worth of story, if that.
Mm-hmm. So, I don't mind $3.99. That's fine.
Natasha Brandon Thomas, art and cover by Fisco Ozio, variant by Joshua Swaby. I've seen some of Sway's work. I'm pretty impressed by it. And quick question on my folks, that was that partner or girlfriend on the Birds of Prey. That was Thunder. Lightning is the younger sibling, as you see here. So,
yep. Fun fact about Lightning: she is a creation of Jeff Johns. He created her when he did his relaunch Justice League America. Which no one knew the fact that John Spears even had any kids until first it was Winnick creating his first daughter, and then he had Jeff Johns creating his second daughter. So you can thank Joe Winnick and Jeff Johns for giving him kids.
Natasha Irons, Lynn Stewart, and the Pierce sisters are caught in the crossfire as Volcana and her new Masters of Disaster set their sights on Steelworks' Meta-Human Evaluation Center. Steel and Lightning jump into the fray to protect innocents, but Thunder is terrified of losing control again. But with her sister and mother risking it all to protect innocent lives, can Anisha Pierce stay on the sidelines?
Those of you curious about the whole Steelworks thing, Black Lightning is a superhero from Metropolis. Yes, moved to other towns. Yes, Black Lightning TV show is every town, but the original character is from Metropolis. He's from Suicide Slum. And Volcana is a character created for Superman TV show.
JSA. Now, Jeff Johns bringing JSA back, I did not mind, even if the book did kind of fall off at certain points, but that was largely due to delays.
Yeah, and also the book was actually, in my opinion, better than the Tim Sheridan Green Lantern Alan Scott book.
Oh, definitely way better. Wait, that's not even a contest.
Yeah, because felt basically read the book, you read Green Lantern Alan Scott, like this book is pointless.
You could literally stay the course on JSA, and you pretty much figure out what happens. Alan
Yes,
Scott had a personal awakening during his service in the military. His partner slash lover is presumed dead after an incident involving the artifact. Finds out he's alive. He becomes this new Red Lantern, and this whole thing just turns into a years long lover spat for pretty much the entire miniseries, if we're being honest. And then Alan just blends in, stays the course, and actively represses himself for decades.
and also that character became Golden Age Red Lantern. His daughter joined JSA in the final issue of Jeff Johns' book, which I'm like, yeah, the whole concept of the whole Red Lantern thing being a Golden Age character is weird, given the fact that he already created a Red Lantern Corps, and now he's creating a Golden Age character version of him. Did you find that really bizarre?
Even though a golden age yellow lantern arguably would have made more sense. Just
Yeah,
putting
but
that out
why
there.
red? And I think the reason made red because Soviet Union.
You're
Yeah,
gonna,
but
you're gonna
Lemire
get
is
me demonetized one of these
yes,
days, Nick.
yeah. Lemire, I think it's a good choice for JSA because this is his third group book he's written. That's not Black Hammer. He did Justice United, he did the Terrifics, and now JSA.
And say what you will about the New Age of Heroes initiative being a ripoff of Marvel, which arguably it was, if we're being honest. But I loved the Terrifics when it came out. I was bummed when that book got canned.
I thought it was weird. Also, they took Lemire off the book and replaced him with the Revenue Superman.
Yeah, once Lemire left, the book kind of just fell apart.
They kept adding new members who were like B-list heroes.
JSA issue number 3, written by Jeff Lemire, art by Diego Olortegu. I'm not even going to try to pronounce that. Cover by Cully Hamner. Variants by Sweeney Boo and Dustin Nguyen. $3.99 for 32 pages.
And it's a big name book like JSA ain't that big as the Justice League, but it is an A-list title. That's how I feel about a title. You think it's A-list?
I believe it's A-list, or worst case scenario, high B tier.
Because
B tier.
they are a long-standing team. People who know DC Comics do know JSA. Well, thanks in part to appearances on TV. So they're not an unknown group of characters.
After sacrificing his reincarnation for one last life with the woman he loves, Hell is the last place Hawkman wants to be right now. With his allies at the Tower of Fate under siege by the Injustice Society, can he escape Wotan's clutches, or is his goose truly cooked?
Yeah. I would think this cover might be a bit controversial because there's a cross behind him.
I could see that.
Yeah, people might be upset with this cover, but the thing is, he's in hell.
That's kind of the point.
Yeah, I don't have an issue with it. It's just some people might have an issue with it.
Green Lantern. Jeremy Adams. Editorial needs to treat Jeremy Adams a lot better than what they do. He practically saved the Flash book, redeemed Wally West's character after the whole Heroes in Crisis fiasco. And from what I've heard, he's a cool dude for the most part. So
yeah, I'm not sure why I took him off Flash in the first place because Josh Williamson had a great run for the book. The guy replaced him briefly for that Dr. Mark was really good, and his run was fantastic. And they played with Science Spur, which the run is so confusing. I do like the artwork though.
Yeah, but the story's a complete mess.
I do like this cover here. You have Guy, you have Jessica Cruz, you have Frontier Lantern, and John Stewart. Interesting choices with these lanterns. Like, you probably think, okay, where the heck is Kyle? Or Simon Baz. I guess
Simon
Frontier
Baz.
Lantern, I think that was probably added in because some people at DC really love Frontier Lantern.
Yep.
She's not a terrible character. I actually enjoy her book.
Yeah, Far Sector was a pretty good book for what it was. I mean, better than Teen Lantern. What was going on in was that Ridley's run on Green Lantern?
No, T Lantern first show up in Bendis' Young Justice.
Yeah, but there was another book she ended up in with Green Lantern and Destruction of the Power Battery.
That was Jeffrey Thorne to that book.
Oh God.
Yeah, and the claim was in the book they broke my spectrum. I didn't think so. I think it was kind of weird they saw powers. I think it's interesting of bringing Jessica Cruz because it seems like she and Simon have been virtually ignored by DC Comics the last few years for apparently no reason.
Jessica Cruz got a little bit of a buff the past couple of years, where Simon Baz was a literal plot device to set up the first Lantern story arc.
Yeah, it's like she, Simon, and Duke Thomas all have one thing in common. You know what that is?
Their plot devices?
They create popular writers and they're characters who half the writers you see want nothing to do with these characters by the fact they're created by popular writers. Because Harper Row, she's another character similar to that with Duke Thomas and Simon and Jessica. Created by a popular writer, but no one wants anything to do with him for no reason. Go on in with how Green Lantern's Hal join Green Lantern Corps, given a mandate to patrol the galaxy, fight crime, and stop the rest of the fractured lanterns around the universe. An exciting new status quo for DC Universe begins here. I don't know if there was a story where they actually explained. Oh, it's $4.99. Of course, it is because they had it where when the book started, it's like the big thing: Earth is quarantined because of Dark Crisis. Fractured lanterns.
Fractured Spectrum.
Yes.
Written by Jeremy Adams, art by V. Ken Marion, cover by Fernando Blanco or Blancio, Stevens Segovia. Okay. Following the events of the Civil War, a new era of Green Lantern mythology begins. Once again, Oa has become the epicenter of the Green Lantern Corps, bringing justice to the furthest corners of the galaxy. But a new threat has emerged. Beings that manifest uncontrolled parts of the emotional spectrum have randomly appeared throughout the universe, dubbed fractal lanterns. Hal and a reformed Green Lantern Corps set off to police this strange new phenomenon, while uncovering a sinister plot that could eliminate the very essence of sentient life.
This is clearly a one-shot, and second one-shot we've seen, yet the first one we saw was 29. This is 4.
I'm sorry, but why do I get the feeling this will have something to do with the simp lantern, for lack of a better term? I'm sorry, I know that's not what he's called, but I can't really describe any other way. Like, there's no reason for this guy to have a lantern ring. Like,
oh, you mean the Phantom? You mean
the sad lantern? Thank you, Tevia.
Phantom, the first lantern, or
no, the Sorrow Lantern of Nate. It's in the current Green Lantern book. Okay.
Yeah. Oh, I love that variant cover they have.
Oh, hold on. Let me
see that variant cover right down there?
Nice.
As Kyle on the cover. Which I think this is his early 2000s attire.
It was.
The one that people love. Green Arrow number 20. Written by Chris Candon, art by Martos, cover by Terran Karki, and variant cover by Mike Diallo Jr.
In $3.99. As Green Arrow comes face to face with the victims of the freshwater environmental disaster, the freshwater killer confronts the Emerald Archer.
I like that premise. That sounds interesting. What the heck? What? It's Warlord.
Why is Warlord doing it a flat? I don't know.
Yeah, in the recent issues, he's been stuck in Carter's for a while. Like, this is a Mike Grell character. Mike Grell created this guy. And here's the thing. Does anybody know this about this guy? Okay, Mike Grell based Warlord's appearance on himself. Did you know that?
I did. I did.
Yeah. This cover looks so goofy.
Oh,
The
hold on.
freaking Warlord. Yeah, I know who this guy is. He made it a big of a decent character, but I know who he is because I've read some of his comic, and plus also he popped up in Green Arrow a couple times. Essentially put, he's a former Air Force pilot who got stranded in this. Basically, the best way to describe him is like, what if DC took Conan the Barbarian, made him an Air Force pilot, and have him basically in a fantasy world where he gets a smoking hot wife who is a sorceress and has like a daughter from previous marriage and have a son who's really strong as he is. At one point, he died, and now he's back, and there's no mention of his family very much. But his look you have here, that's Jelly Bean's appearance since the 70s. I find it interesting his look has never changed in 50 years. You find it interesting?
I do find that interesting. I mean, if it ain't broke, don't fix it.
And plus, I think maybe Micro has a deal because I heard something anybody may because Chuck Dix mentions like 70s writers work for DC had these sweet deals where no one write certain characters, whatever. I think Micro must have had his contract that no one's allowed to alter his appearance without his permission. And my guess, DC must have a lot of respect for Mike Carell because they've never changed his appearance.
Either that, they just didn't bother.
Yeah.
Hal Jordan and Carroll situations like the Kurt and Peter MJ situation. Third wheel is most important here being, and I cannot say that aloud, but I appreciate the creativity, Brown.
Yeah, and the whole thing with Hal and Carol, writers at DC want to have these two get married. They want to do it. It's DC editor keeps saying no. And it's been like this since the freaking 60s.
And I get where they're coming from, especially given the whole, first, I always call it the first responder mentality, but that's always going to be a conflict between someone who's a hero or heroine and someone who's not, but is a support character. Lois and Clark is always the exception to the rule because Lois is feisty and assertive enough to hold her own, at least compared to a normal person, in most situations. So Lois and Clark is always the exception to the rule. But in most situations like this, it usually leads to one or both parties crumbling under the pressure and the relationship implodes because of it.
And it's something that of all the founding members of Justice League, Hal is probably like the only one out of all of them who does not have a child. Because Martin did have kids before he came to Earth.
That is true.
Wonder Woman kind of has in a couple of different continuities, but in Prime, not since the Golden Age, but she's been parent before, so she has experience. But
Wally and Linda actually, I think they got married at the tail end of Mark Waid's original run with Wally, didn't they? Like at the tail end.
I think so, and they currently have 3 kids. The third kid was created by Jeremy Adams.
And named after Mark Waid.
Interesting, given the fact Mark Waid didn't create Linda Park. I think that was it was Lopes who created Linda Park.
I want to say it was Lopes as well.
Yes, but I think Waid was. I think the reason why he named after Waid was because Waid hooked those two up.
Yep.
And this. I don't mind the whole Scarterus stuff because for some reason he just want to do anything with Warlord. It's like the only thing DC wants to do with him now is be a guest star in people's books.
And there's nothing wrong with that. Scarterus is very fantasy and lore. He doesn't really get a lot of attention with the superhero trend. So I understand it. It's completely nonsensical.
Yeah, here's the thing. Why not give him a miniseries? Like, if not give him an ongoing again, which, like, he's some character probably definitely people would buy because he's a fantasy character. People love fantasy characters. But it's like the last book he had was back in like 2010.
And he did have a tie-in in Convergence, or at least he played a role in a tie-in.
And you might be thinking, has been successful having an ongoing series in the past? Yes, he has. His first volume lasted for 130 issues. So he has been successful for that. As the Flash races to contain damage and scars, forces below and above ground make their name grass move. The Flash ramification leads the West Clan to meet the one and only Warlord. And by the way, his real name is Travis Morgan. That's his real name. And
Ironic.
and here's something: he's a Vietnam vet.
You know, for a while I actually thought Two-Face was dead, or am I confusing him with Deadshot?
Deadshot.
Okay, because I have known Deadshot was killed off.
Yeah, I think he got killed off when Tom Taylor wrote Suicide Squad. Interesting that I think we saw this with December Solicitor. He was getting a book. I do find interesting that he's getting a book. Christian Ward, interesting choice, given the fact he did a one miniseries part of this. Batman, I think it was like World of Madness, I think it was.
I believe so.
But him doing Two-Face, I think it makes sense. Because he's kind of crazy, and of course, Madden's World was a crazy book. So I could see him basically making success of Two-Face. But why pick Two-Face? Don't know. But interesting choice.
Written by Christian Ward, art by Fabio Verreras, cover by Baldemir Rivas, or Baldemir Rivas, I'm just going to say Rivas, and Alex Ekman Lawn.
No price tag for this one.
In the underworld court known as the White Church, Harvey Dent is asked to litigate the divorce of the Royal Flush Gang's King and Queen of Hearts. But there's much more at stake than assets in this trial. In fact, it's a matter of life and death. When cheating allegations surround the king, it's up to Harvey and his new assistant, Lake Cantwell, to clean up the monarch's mess. And why does Harvey get the sneaking suspicion that someone is pulling the strings and threatening to send Gotham's criminal underworld into a frenzy?
I get the reason why he was picked in Story because he's a lawyer. Metamorpho the Element Man.
Oh yeah, I forgot they had a kid together.
Yes, was a boy. That I believe was Element Woman. The boy's name was Joseph. Those of you curious about the Elements Man title, that was the nickname of his. As a matter of fact, his first line, that was a subtitle. This is the official title of the book.
Metamorpho the Element Man, issue number 2, written by Al Ewing, art and interiors by Steve Leiber, and variant by Gilliam March. $3.99. Who could win
Did
the
you notice that Two-Face wouldn't have a price tag on it?
I was intrigued by that. Probably because I haven't finalized a price for it.
Probably. But this is January solicits, and yet we have a Christmas Day release one.
Who could win the heart of the most fabulous freak of all? Only one more fabulous still, the switched-on Sapphire Stag. But when Metamorpho and Element Gal join Superstar Sapphire in the spotlight, they find themselves in the gun sights of a deadly rival for her cultural crown. One meticulously managed by the maliciously Mad
Mod.
Thank you. But what's old Stagsy's connection to the coolest cat in crime? Al Ewing and Steve Leiber have the answers as the new age of Metamorpho marches on.
Yeah, this is Elma Girl over here. That's her right there. If you're curious, Mad Mod, old Teen Titans villain.
Mad Mod. Wait, is this the one who de-ages people in order to preserve his youth?
Nope. He's the guy that accepts the UK, and the guy's like a British villain. After he got defeated by the Titans back in the 60s, after being in prison, he became fashion designer and designed the 90s Teen Titans costumes. Shazam, issue 19. Mr. Mind. Still with Justin Camp on the title. Still don't know why they put it on the book for, but okay.
Written by Josie Campbell, art by Dan McDade, cover by Gleb Melnikoff, variants by Todd Nunick and Mark Spears, $4.99 for 32 pages. It's brother versus brother and captain versus commander, as Billy Batson is left with no choice but to confront Freddy in his new superhero persona head on. If Mr. Mind was able to worm his way into the heart of the Shazam family, there's no there's no knowing who else have been infested with his influence. The gods are watching, and what they see could tip the balance of power in his family, city, and world.
It looks like on the Spirit Sphere, it looks like they have Dudley, Uncle Dudley in the middle. That type of guy, that's Uncle Dudley.
Yep.
Oh, this is something. A new costume of Power Girl.
I'm surprised they actually brought this costume back.
I'm glad because I don't necessarily mind their outfit, but this is Power Girl's outfit, not the other one. Because this one I consider because it shows up skin, shows up much of a powerful woman she is. She is not even covered like she's freaking Captain Marvel. And look, she's got her cat Streaky.
Not to mention the super jackets motif. I feel like that the editorial's just done with that at this point.
Yeah. You figured this book would be her day off. She does not need that look. New look. So new star, new look. Despite new look, still maintain Lee Williams as the writer, with Dave Prunick on the artwork, covered by Jan Prunick, great artist. Dave Bolden doing the variant cover with Matt DeLunas. A fresh start. Power Girl and Friends are new owners of the Daily Star building. Interesting. With plans to bring us former glory, but their renovation disturbs their squander living on the property. A squatter on the property. One who's not afraid to seize the foolish also. Luckily, Power Girls ready to fight with a new look. Interesting to bring in Daily Star because that's an old golden age. That was, believe it or not, that was the place that Clark Kent worked back in the golden age before it was Daily Planet. Interesting to me, a separate newspaper because that was basically Earth 2 Superman worked for them.
DC Black Label. I'm sorry, but why is Jenny Sparks like? If this is supposed to be one iteration per century, I mean, wait, yeah, per century. Jenny Quantum takes over in the 2000s. So why are we having a book about Jenny Sparks?
I don't know, but looks like that this is going to be a 7-issue miniseries. But I don't mind the price being $49 for 40 pages. That's fine.
An all-out brawl erupts between Captain Atom and Jenny Sparks when she uses his traumatic memories against him. Could this shattered hero with the powers of a god be ready to take everything down with him? Has Jenny finally gone too far? Find out in our pulse-pounding penultimate issue.
How
In
far
Batman,
about this curse?
in Batman Full Moon.
$5.99 for the final issue of this book? Damn, that's expensive.
With the clock ticking down to zero, Batman travels deep into the Welsh Highlands to undo the curse of the werewolf. But what awaits him will challenge his most deeply held convictions. To lift the curse, he'll have to choose sacrifice his own life or take another.
How do you feel about Rodney Barnes as a writer?
I have yet to read this miniseries, so
I mean, have you read books that he's written? Like he did a fucking book.
I do not recall his work. It escapes me at the moment. I probably have if I've seen it, but
Oh, this looks like DC versus vampires.
it is. Now we're on the Elseworld section. This might take a little longer than usual, folks, but I appreciate you for sticking around.
Yeah, it looks like we're about halfway through.
Oh yeah, DC versus vampires. I'm sorry, I'm just not a fan of the. I'm just not a fan because the ending was very sequel bait, and I just couldn't latch on to it.
Yep. How is it that Batman Superman gets to Elseworlds? We can think of it as in the past.
This takes place like right after the first conflict leaves off. I believe.
The next book, basically the one below, I saw these Batman Superman World Slams.
Oh, I'm sorry. Matthew Rosenberg. Okay, issue 6 out of 12. Ooh.
$4.99 for 40 pages. Fine, whatever.
Green Arrow, Damian Wayne, and the rest of the heroes bring the fight to Batgirl and her blood-sucking army. With the world on a collision course with total destruction, a new foe enters the fray, and they're on the hunt for Mr. Miracle. The vampire-human battle lines are about to be permanently drawn. Wait, when wasn't Batgirl taken out in issue 1?
I think so. It's just me with that cover and cover. It looks like gave her a 6-pack.
Oh, now you mention it.
It kind of looks like gave her a 6-pack.
It does, doesn't it?
Yeah. All right, let's talk about this book. 35.
20,000 Leagues begins. Batman Superman World's Finest. Written by Mark Waid, art by Adrian Gutierrez, and cover by Dan Mora.
Do you think the reason why he's not doing tier because he's doing tier for Your Second Limited?
Possibly. A distress call from Atlantis has brought Batman and Superman deep beneath the waves and face to face with the king himself. Aquaman. But this man of two worlds harbors a secret, and it'll be up to the Dark Knight and the Man of Steel to thwart a coup that threatens the peace of all undersea life. A new story arc begins as the world's finest travel under the sea with a new ongoing series artist, Adrian Gutierrez.
Do you think the reason why this is considered Elseworld because it takes place in the past?
Possibly. Batman Dark Patterns, issue number 2.
Man, what a creepy cover.
Written by Dan Walters, art and cover by Hayden Sherman, and variant by Martin Simmons. Case number 1. We Are Wounded, Part 2. As the mysterious wound man's body count rises higher and higher, the Dark Knight detective must descend into the festering depths of Gotham's past to uncover the secret truth at the heart of the wound man's schemes.
I bet you agree that cover is so creepy.
It is creepy.
With all the nails and the screws near this guy's eye, like, ouch. That must freaking hurt. I'm surprised man's not dead with all that stuff in his face. Okay, now we're not in the Elseworld.
Elseworlds anymore. No. DC's Terror in Arkham Tower. I'm surprised they're bringing this back. Batman Robin, issue number 17. Under Philip Kennedy Johnson. Nick, have you actually read the first issue yet?
I don't think I think I did. Arkham Tower. I remember this was Margaret McGonagall who created Arkham Tower.
Yeah, she did in that 12-week maxi series. What was it called?
For Detective. It was Shadow the Bat.
Thank you. And the story kind of it wasn't. I'm not gonna say it's bad. It was just very dragged out.
And it seems like that DC just forgot about this place, and now we're bringing it back.
Read by Philip K. Johnson, art covered by Javi Fernandez, variants by Simone DeMeo and Dustin Nguyen, and variant 1-1:25 by Mike Perkins.
Does that look like Clayface behind them?
I thought that was Clayface.
Yeah, I think that might be Clayface, but there's a guy called. I don't think it's Minto, but that looks like Clayface because how big he is. It's got to be Clayface.
It's got to be, right?
Yeah.
Desperate to question Scarecrow about the recent plague of memento killings, Batman must fight his way through a full-scale breakout at Arkham. But when Mementos enters the fray and reveals his true form, Robin may be his father's only hope. Batman and Robin, Year 1, issue number 4. Nick, you want to take this one?
Yeah, $3.99. Things are heating up in Gotham as the General to tighten his grip on the criminal identity on criminal city. But when he and Batman come face to face, will the Dark Knight strike fear in this new threat's heart? Or will this end Batman's fight for Gotham City? Meanwhile, a meeting between Dick's caseworker sets the young boy Wonder on a path he absolutely dreads. I still think it's weird we're having Dick fighting the General, who's a Tim Drake villain.
Your guess is as good as mine on that one, man.
Yeah, if I get a chance to ask Chuck Dixon about that, I'll probably ask him about that.
All right.
The shocking origin of the Ale family. We're going back to Milestone here. Oh, look, it's
Um,
hardware. He's stabbed upside down.
Milestone Universe Shadow Cabinet issue number 3.
Who the heck is this writer? Joseph P. Ilditch.
I have not seen his work, so I couldn't comment.
I know who Dennis Cohen is because basically the guy's a good cover artist. He's doing covers since the 80s.
Angela Alva orchestrated the coup of a lifetime. Hardware captured, the Blood Syndicate defeated, and Rocket on the run. And in her most powerful act to date, Angela aims to resurrect her estranged brother, Dr. Edwin Alva. With the Alva dynasty more powerful than ever, is all hope lost? Not if Dharma in the Shadow Cabinet can help it.
Yeah, those of you curious about this, the Ava family have got they debuted in Hardware's comic. DC Power Return DC. Oh my gosh, it's the leader of Power Company.
You know, this, I don't know if he's gone by multiple names. I mean, Bolt, or DC did get into some controversy by calling him White Adam in the beginning of that Black Adam maxi series.
Which they did never finish collecting it. Not sure
But,
why.
but yeah, I thought his character was shelved after that book.
Yeah. Oh, and the guy who was Big Fist, that is Josiah Power. He is the founder of Power Company, who did have an ongoing series in the 2000s. And guess who created this guy? This might surprise you, Jay Heat.
Who?
Kurt Busiek.
What?
Yeah, Kurt Busiek created this guy. They beat in Power Company #1 after a series of one-shots that basically debut all the members, which included Firestorm as part of the lineup, including also a clone of the I think it was the second Manhunter, who called himself Kirk the Paul. Interesting, DC's bringing back Power Company because this group has not been active since the early 2000s.
Which would have, I'm not going to say, no, the McDuff, no, that Fallout was way after that. Milestone breaking away from DC was way before that. Never mind.
But, and here's the weird thing about the original Power Company book. Did you know that no issue for the entire book is in trade?
I'm surprised by that.
18 issues. You'd think DC would collect it by now. Nope, they never have. Looks like this lineup is comprised of. You said it's Bolt with the Look like, oh my gosh, is that Jace Fox?
Yes.
Jace Fox.
Yes.
With Cyborg, Frontier Lantern. Let's see what else we got here. Looks like Vince is part of the team too. That's gonna be interesting. Duke Thomas. Interesting lineup. I don't know why that Bolt and Jace Fox are here, but everyone else is fine. But wait, isn't Cyborg on the Titans? Why is he here?
DC Power, The Rise of Power Company.
Written by
I think this is
Thomas.
I think this is the February one shot.
That comes out. Looks like it's on sale January 29th.
Yep. The Justice League's watchtower looming in the skies is intended to inspire hope and faith in superheroes. But not everyone believes metahumans act in humanity's best interests. The fringe belief that quote, Waller was right, has grown louder as paramilitary groups take to the streets to take Earth back for the human race. Enter Josiah Power, a meta attorney who who's seen enough of rising hate and sets out to assemble a team not only to protect black and brown communities from these new threats, but also to rebuild human faith in heroes. DC Power returns for a third year in a new format, continuing storylines from Absolute Power and All In, setting the stage for the return of the Power Company.
Yes. If you ever read the original book, the way he's written, sounds like he's written here. That's not how he was in the original book at all. He had nothing to do with racism at all. For him, it's basically all about money and just other stuff. He was a good character. At one point, he was taking out his book point in a coma, but he was never written this way. These new writers writing this way for no reason.
New year, new fears. DC Horror Presents issue number 4. I feel like this should have been around October for Halloween, but I guess editorial decided to delay it.
Patton Oswalt, Jordan Bloom, Brandon Hay, and Stephen Kodosky. Art by Logan Faber and more. Cover by Tyler Crook. And variant cover by Charlie Allard. Those who care about Charlie Allard, who the heck that guy is, he is Mike Aldridge's brother. That's who he is. Laura Aldridge, if you see her name on books, that is Mike Aldridge's wife.
The holidays are behind us.
Go ahead.
The holidays are behind us, but we've got more cursed and dangerous gifts to give. 2 stories from 2 wickedly comedic teams. Modoc's Patterson Oswalt and Jordan Bloom's explore Gotham City's dark side, and the Flophouse podcast Brandon Hay and Stephen Kodansky spin a matter-eater lad tale that'll have your stomach churning. This, our deadly final issue, is not one to be missed.
And they're both Creature Commandos.
Probably a tie-in comic for the DCU.
Yeah, but look at this cover here. Like, I see like a werewolf. It just seems like I think we're at the first issue for this one. It doesn't feel like Creature Commandos. I think of like monsters associated with war. So I'm like, what's the point of having them now? Because of the TV show?
Possibly.
Yeah, and I met Pat Broderick, the guy who helped create Creature Commandos. He was simply just hired to do it, but he's happy to see them getting a spotlight on TV.
Yeah, the reason Static Icon, that's because of a licensing dispute with the Milestone and McDuffie estate. But Milestone broke off from DC long before McDuffie passed.
Yeah, I don't know if McDuffie had anything to do with that.
No. Now, Milestone did stand on their own. They consolidated into DC rights-wise, and then they broke off again sometime in the New 52.
Yeah, which McDuffie had nothing to do with that. He passed away in 2008. Which I've heard about him from Ron Wilson. He was a terrific guy.
Despite Dr. West's protests, the creature unit heads to the Skeleton Coast for their first big mission. For extra insurance, Dr. West has equipped each team member with saber switches, which send the creature commando into their most savage, monstrous modes. Still, uncertainty lingers. Details about the mission are kept secret, even from Dr. West. What is this team getting themselves into, and what are they even fighting for? And the Valentine's Day anthology. Might as well get it out the way.
Lexington City, written by Brendan Hay, Sonia Grace, David Waltzgate, Charles Staggs, Kelly C. Miller, Maggie Toka Hill, art by Howard Porter, Sergey Akira, Stephen Barn, Lisa Starr, and Lisa Hung. Those are probably covered by Amanda Connor and variant cover by Swally and Sigavale. You may know my tone of voice on Sonia Grace. I don't give a damn about Sonia Grace because basically Uh, it just when I think of him, I think of this person who wrote the gay Iceman book and the fact this guy put his foot in his mouth on Twitter.
Oh, that scene of grace. Okay, I
Yeah,
I didn't get involved in that.
yeah,
It's
I heard
valid.
about it and it just look, it's Lex being. This is funny. Lex all the place like he's getting whipped by Superman. That's funny.
It's Valentine's Day, which means that love and heartbreak are sweeping every city in the DCU. This anthology collects 8 stories of heroes and villains looking for love in the big city, which practically feels like its own character. Lex Luthor laments over the one that got away, the big, ever elusive metropolitan man, Superman.
What? Are they making him gay? That'd be kind of stupid.
Raven and Beast Boy embark on a romantic scavenger hunt across San Francisco, which just might be a trap. And Damian Wayne runs a dating advice gauntlet through Gotham City, organized by none other than the dating master himself, Tim Drake.
Really? This is the guy who's had like 6 girlfriends.
I mean, was that really Tim being a player, or Tim having his cake and eating it too, and it blowing up in his face in catastrophic fashion?
I'm looking at the price of this book. $10 for 80 pages. That is fine. I have no problem with that being that price.
Oh, okay, I gotta finish this solicit. Gather your gal pals, pour yourself a Cosmo, and hit your nearest comic shop. DC's Lex in the City is coming this January.
So
This,
it's a parody of Sex and City.
yeah, this really should have got pushed to February because it's already a Valentine's Day anthology. It just would have made more sense to have it in February instead of getting pushed to the last week in January. I mean,
Little Batman Month 1, number 3. A $5 book for kids.
yep. What happens when a kid who is also a secret superhero sneaks off to save his dad, who is also a secret superhero? Mayhem, of course. Alfred and the babysitter split up to search high and low for the little Batman. But little do they know, he's off hunting for clues from the last person they'd expect, the Joker. Wait, is this just a retelling of the movie?
Maybe.
Because, yes, I did watch Merry Little Batman. It was actually supposed to be a Christmas special on the channel, but I ended up delaying it. I ended up pushing it back. So be on the lookout for that this year.
Yes.
And the DC sweater weather variant covers. Okay, is that all of them? Okay, facsimile editions. Brave and the Bold 29. This is the Justice League versus the Weapons Master. The iconic Superman versus the Flash.
I think that's a reprint of World's Finest 198.
Thank you. Limited edition, The Untold Legend of the Batman.
Crisis Universe number 10. December 26, which is the debut of New Teen Titans. What the heck is this?
Jimmy Olsen's Super Cyclopedia.
And they made the Jimmy Olsen black. Stop. I need you to help solve the multiverse. What the heck is this? This is like a one-shot graphic novel.
In April. And it did. Superman's pal, Jimmy Olsen, is documenting the heroism of his friends and learning how to use this cool new technological marvel. When the villainous Toy Boy, that doesn't have a negative connotation at all, and his mischief League of the Multiverse get their hands on knockoff versions of the device. They will not stop until they fulfill his deadly plans. Can Jimmy save the day? With his buddies Rip Hunter and Linda Park by his side, Jimmy's definitely up for the challenge. They embark on a planet and dimension-hopping adventure, encountering on a who's who of the DC universe, and discovering that not all heroes wear capes. Look out, world!
This sounds like a really bad book.
Yeah. Oh.
It's like he was there witnessing this whole thing. Like, first of all, Jimmy Olsen's white, so it's like to take inspiration from The Adventures of Superman version, the one who's also black as well, but with that weird buzz cut of his. I don't think that this Jimmy Olsen. I think it's that Jimmy Olsen.
Possibly.
Chafee back for Space Age. Dark Age.
Dark Knights of Steel, All Winter, Viking Deathstroke.
Yep.
I think these are physical collections.
Yes. Oh, there have been 2 trades now because it's 12 issues. DC's Finest, Plasmin, Orange Plasmin. Oh, cool. More Jack Cole stuff. Which I've heard that the best person who ever wrote Plasmin was Jack Cole. DC's Finest Stamps, Chase the End of Time.
Pardon me, folks.
Yeah. DC's Finest. That's new printing of that. They put it under that because the first trade for that 8-volume trade series Suicide Squad also called this too. This is basically that trade all over again.
Yep.
They could have made some additions to it. Oh, look, it's a comic nobody wants to read.
I forgot my Adventure Superman had a tie-in comic.
Yeah, I watched the first episode. I'm like, nope.
Gotham City Siren. Yeah, that weekly series wrapped up 2 weeks ago.
Yeah, it wasn't that bad.
Multiverses, Collision Detected. This is basically a prologue to the game. Graphic novels, Zatanna, Bring Down the House.
Which actually is pretty good. I like it.
The Nice House by the Sea. Yes!
A compact of the show. Batman Superman. You know, for that new printing they did for Batman Superman, they didn't finish.
They never fully collected this event in trade.
Yeah, because they skipped the last 12 issues. I know it looked like an omnibus, but not like the paperback book. They never finished it for some reason. Let me guess. It contains like the first 13 issues, right?
I believe so. Hold on. Yeah, post-crisis Supergirl's origin and arrival on Earth. Yeah, about the first 13 issues.
Mm-hmm. And of course, I have my Ed McGuinness. The Authority. Interesting.
Probably because of the DCU.
Yeah.
Green Arrow Volume 3, Against the Wall.
I think this one is going to be the final trip for Josh Williams' run.
Yes, this carries over all the way into milestone issue 350, which I believe in the Williamson run is up to issue 12.
I think no, 12 basically was after this. I think that'll be issue 19.
Okay.
Second one. This book is amazing.
Yeah, Jeremy Adams, Green Lantern, Road to War.
I love that cover. New printing of DC Frontier. This is like the 4th printing of that book, which I'm glad it's a good book, but does DC need to keep reprinting this book?
It's one of their best stories, man. I mean, it's the New Frontier.
Batman 70. This is a second printing of this book.
Yep.
And that one too. This one, second printing of that one too.
I'm surprised Batcat got a second pre-printing.
Yeah.
Now, Batman vs. TMNT, I am not surprised at all, especially because of the movie.
Which, according to Tinief, he had no idea the movie was even made in the first place until he was told at a party.
Detective Comics Volume 5. I believe this is the first half of that soap opera epic.
Actually, I think, but based on the cover, I think that's the final trade for that book. Because I have Volume 3. Second printing of the Golden Age Novels Batman. Anyways, a Golden Age Batman is it's a lot of fun reading. It's not terrible. But occasionally you might see Bob King occasionally forgets to put the bat symbol on Batman's chest.
Yep. Dark Knight's Metal Compendium.
I think that one's collecting like all the not just the main book. I think it collects all the tie-ins too for that one.
Dead Man Omnibus.
Doom Patrol. Great era.
Age.
Yes. Oh my gosh. Archer's Quest Omnibus Volume 1. So I can't really tell, but it looks like this collects the entirety of Kevin's run. Let's see. Oh, and it looks like Scissor was also Winnick's one too. Even collect issue 32, that was Skip originally. And those Green Lantern issues. That's interesting because DC has never collected these issues before. I'm not surprised at $100, but wow. Oh look, it's Titans Volume 2.
The Darkwing Queen.
I think this one is the finale for Tom Taylor's run of the book.
Yep, because this leads to somehow Doctor Hate, excuse me, being an it just boils down to another evil Raven plot, and yeah, you've read one, you read all of them, so it's just been done that many times. Ooh, reprint of Justice League International.
I think that's the second printing of that book, of that run. Yeah, it's the second printing of that, which I would not be surprised he's sent that to Jamie Matias because he. Oh, look, it's a trade that collects the final issues of Tom Taylor's run for Nightwing.
I'm sorry, but Heartless is just Nightwing's version of Hush.
Yes.
I mean, there's no real distinction.
Mm-hmm.
Power Girl Volume 2. I kind of fell off of the book around this time, around Volume 2.
Scalped. I've never read this book.
I've heard of it, but I have not read it for myself. So
I have no idea if it's good or bad, and I've never read it, so I don't have an opinion on that one.
Okay. All
and
right.
That's it.
Yep. Okay. All right. This was a great showing. Nick, your thoughts on the solicit?
Interesting solicits. Some books I question why they're that price. Like charging $5 for a 24-page book.
Yeah, at least DC's trying to learn their lesson, baby steps.
Yeah, at least not all the books are $4.99. I think the only book I saw $4.99 I saw that was Detective, Batman, Action, Superman. Wonder was not $4.99. I think it was $3.99, wasn't it?
I believe it was $3.99, but I could be wrong on that.
I know Nightwing was, and I think just limited, but not many. Which thank God for that. Though it's interesting, we have 2 one-shots released that month. One is $3.99, the other is $4.99. That would be inconsistent. And that Valentine's special being 80 pages, charging $10. I have no issue with that at all. That's fine. $10 is the fine price. Charge 80-page book.
As for me, I am very looking forward to the new year. I thought the Valentine's anthology, Lex in the City, probably should have been delayed and promoted for February proper, but that's just my personal opinion.
And also, why the heck is implied that Lex wants to be in a gay relationship with Superman? That just makes no freaking sense at all.
I think it's just a dirty joke within the confines of the solicit because Luthor always had a hate connotation for Clark, so it's kind of...
At least Ray and Beast Boy makes sense.
Yeah, and...
Like, if you want to do a romance book, like, I don't mind keeping Ray and Beast Boy there, but why not push Superman and Lois?
Because you already had the My Adventures. Again, those are the only ones that are referenced specifically. There are 8 stories in this anthology.
I'm not saying basically reference that show. I'm talking about basically current canon, having a Valentine's Day special for those two because they're a married couple. And one of the story is Superman getting something for Lois, something very special for Valentine's Day.
Baby.
Ooh, you were also really good for this one shot. Buddy and his wife.
Oh.
Where the heck are those two? Because last time I saw Buddy, I think he popped up in Flash when Jerry Irons wrote the book.
Oh man, that
I wish he do something with that character. He's an amazing character. I like the fact that that animal girl is best friends with Irie, and then for some reason, Side Spirit has it where she's dating Jay, Wally's son.
And I mean,
does that find that kind of weird, given the fact that when Sharon's was like, "Oh, it's Irie's weird brother," and now they're dating. And if you read the issue, you cannot tell it's Maxine. It looks like some random red hair girl with curls. And the only thing tell it's Maxine was when Iris said, "Bestie." I'm like, oh, that's Maxine, obviously. Even though they never stated her name in that scene. Remember that issue?
I remember that issue.
I'm like, what? Like, it just comes completely out of nowhere.
Excuse me. It
And
does.
first of which, when the heck does this happen? That these two start dating?
I mean,
Or the fact Maxine, I think, for Jay.
it
It
really
seemed
does
weird.
carry over from one book to the next. Like they have a little bit of banter because Irie, Irie Jai, excuse me, Jay Jai, however you want to say it. They're all middle school age, roughly. So they're kind of like anywhere between 11 to 12 years old. So they're roughly middle school age.
But it looked like in this book, they aged up a little bit. They look a bit older compared to Jerry Allen's wrote them.
Maybe, but again, I kind of fell off Cy Spurrier's Flash because I just couldn't tell what was going on.
I still read it because I like reading Flash. At least it's still keep Mr. Terrific in the book.
Yeah, I'll give you that. But
Wonder Woman, I'm hoping that they find a way to kill off Sovereign because he's a useless villain.
yeah, he Sovereign. I just wasn't the biggest fan of it.
It's a guy who hates women, okay, and apparently he's been around since the American Revolution, okay, and he's the real America, okay, but it's like Tom Taylor gave nothing for this character,
Tom King.
Tom King. It's like he created him and gave him nothing.
He basically Psycho Pirate would have been a better villain. No, not Psycho Pirate. Doctor Psycho. Excuse me.
Yes, I
Because at
hope
least,
I hope in this final issue Sovereign dies.
but well said, Nick. Well said. Any final thoughts before we wrap up?
Uh, I do like basically the trades they're releasing. I think that's interesting. Some of the trades, so like that Green Air Omnibus. I'm not going to pay for it, but I'm happy to see issues of that book that they're collecting for. Like basically issues together between Brad Miller's Reef issues and Joe Winks issues. I think it was 22, 25. Those issues have never been put in the trade before. I'm very happy to see those in trade, along with crossover with Green Lantern. That crossover is known as the Black Sun crossover, which debuts Abin Sur's evil son.
You
Yeah,
thought
you
he
see
was
him,
original. You thought
yeah.
he was the original character in Green Lantern the animated series? No, he was established way before that.
Yeah, and Abin Sur's son is a dick. Yeah, and the Black Sun, it's not a take on Child's Empire's Black Sun, Star Wars. This Black Sun is completely different from the one from Star Wars. It just got to say a similar name, but they're a completely different criminal organization. I don't know Winnick based on it. I really don't know because I never met Winnick because he worked on the Green Lantern issues part of this crossover. And just by sheer coincidence, he jumped from Green Lantern to Green Arrow right after this crossover wrapped up.
Indeed.
Yep. One book I think that DC should bring back, Firestorm.
Agreed.
There's so much I could do with Firestorm. It's like he's sitting on the shelf doing nothing. Him along with Supergirl. They need to have titles.
I agree.
And also, for Power Girl, if you want to have like something interesting with the book, when books sell, put Amanda Connor on the covers. Nothing gets covers for Power Girl, but put Amanda Connor on there and stop ghosting Jim Homie and Amanda Connor. Stop ghosting DC, please. They're great writers.
But with all that being said, stage again. We did end up missing Two Blue Vortex chapter 14 last month due to personal conflicts in our schedules, and of course the two hurricanes back to back. So chapters 14 and 15 will be reviewed together, and to be determined on that. We just need to finalize a date, but
Mhm.
but you will get a post from me sometime this week. Again, hopefully I remember to add a link to his channel in the description. So please subscribe to Nick Lenz right here. Great guy. He reviews anime, manga. You're bound to have a good time. Nick, anything you want to say?
Nothing else I can think of.
All right then. Like, comment, subscribe. Thank you so much for joining us, everyone.
And
Flame off.
do not hit the dislike button.
Indeed. Flame off, everyone. Whoa!